This is the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight. Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. Well, we told you that we had some information, and we hope that alluded to it a little bit. We have John Mistler in the studio. He is going to run a write-in campaign. Now, I want you all to listen just 1 second, and then we'll get everybody else joined in. Their mics are on, so they can join in any time. But I want you to think about something. You know he's the man for the job. You know he's been doing it. He's been pushing. He's been getting out there. I want everybody in District 5 to listen first. You guys have a chance to make a change. You have a chance to send a message, a strong message, because he missed by 14 votes. Come on, people. I know that he had more backing than that, just by the way everybody was talking about him. He had the backing. That means some people who thought that, well, you know what? I don't need to get out and vote. My vote really doesn't count. Guess what? It counted and you missed it. You blew it. He's going to run a write-in campaign. This is where we get into the whole Yuba County area. You guys out at Recology that were battling for your jobs, you want to make a change? You want to go to the city council next time and be heard rather than falling on deaf ears? Send this man, send John Mistler to that seat. And I promise you, they are going to be so scared of the people passing and electing a write-in ballot person that they are going to listen to you. And this is where Yuba City comes in now in Sutter County. We need walkers. We need everybody. And think you don't have a dog in the fight? Listen to that idiot Andy Vasquez and think you don't have a dog in the fight? Let me tell you what. You have a dog in the fight right now because us, the people, have a chance to take this back right now. If we send a write-in to the seat of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors, they are going to know the people have been speaking out, and they're going to know that the people have taken back their vote. It's going to take a lot of work, but the problem is when it does happen, if we can make this happen, I promise you that every Board of Supervisors, Yuba County, Sutter County, Butte County, they're going to know it happened. The city councils are going to know it happened. And the next time they don't listen to you, all you got to say is, you know what, we're going to go ahead and start a campaign to recall you. And they're going to listen. We have a chance to shake things up right now. All right, enough of that. Welcome, John Mistler. Thank you for coming to the show, and the rest of the crew's here also.
Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for having a dog in the fight.
We got one. It's you, buddy. It's all you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for turning my mic back on and not censoring me.
Yeah, I would never censure you, Tom.
You did earlier. Okay. So to get right in on a write-in to win, you're going to need a pretty good push.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I believe. Because most people are they're lazy in that area.
Yep.
So.
Well, and most people won't even spell the name right. I mean, we're going to have to literally get out and just beat on every door and talk to these people. But right now is a time where I think that's why we played that song Revolution. It will be a revolution. If we can get him elected as a write-in and push and can do this, it's going to send a message. And, I mean, it's going to shake the whole foundation that everything is on right now.
Yeah, we got to get boots on the ground. So basically, the time now is up until November is work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're not afraid of work, are we? We worked our regular jobs all week, and then we worked in the evening on our constitutional headquarters night after night, right?
Yep.
Every night, 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Well, later, because we ended up eating dinner around 9 or 10 some nights.
And we're almost done. We're almost there. We should be ready for you, sir. So it's getting close. We should finish up this afternoon. You need to come by and see us.
And just to clarify, it's moister.
Moister. Okay.
Moister. What's moister? I don't know what you're talking about.
Moister, not Mark Mooser. Mark Moister.
Moister?
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Me either. So, yeah, it's been a long week.
Yes, but we got our headquarters up and running here pretty soon.
Yes.
And that's where that's gonna be the ground zero, right?
Ground zero, that's right. Our grand opening will be this Thursday. And that will also coincide with our first event, which is that fundraiser for our 2 state candidates, one being
Mark Moiser
Moiser. I'm never going to pronounce that right.
and Konstantinos Roditis.
Yes. So state controller and secretary of state, those 2 positions. So it starts at 7, and it's going to be a wine and dessert social. The 2 are expected to ride into town on their bicycles around 8:30. So we'll have a chance to hear what they have to say and to ask them some questions. But we'll get back to our guest of honor here, and let's hear from John Mistler.
1 second.
What?
We just got a text in. We don't have a dog in the fight. Apparently, we have a whole litter of dogs in the fight. So, all right, John, go ahead. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Well, first of all, I came in third in the 3-way race, and I lost by 14 votes. And I want to make it very clear that I understand that I did not work hard enough, and it's on me. But I had a group get a hold of me about 10 days ago and talk about doing a write-in. And I told them, I think it's a waste of time and money. So I met with them Friday morning, and they had all the facts together. What has to happen, how it happens. They had even prepared some signage and stuff like that. There's a lady that said she would take care of all of my paperwork so I could spend my whole time out campaigning. So it's pretty hard to say no when you've got that kind of support. And I really appreciate the support and from you guys. And I don't get off track here, but I want to also say I really appreciate this activism that you guys are forming and beginning right now, because this is something that these 2 communities have needed for a long time. You can talk about it and talk about it. I'm a white-haired guy. I've been in tables with white-haired guys, and we're going to do this, and everybody gets up and goes home. So I really appreciate the activism that you guys are bringing together for both of these communities. It's truly what this community needs.
Thank you.
So having said that, I appreciate your support. Even when I wasn't in the running, you still supported me, and I really appreciate that. I think that that tells people where your commitment is. So I can tell you that when we sat down and talked, one of the things that they brought up was that my opponent, the incumbent, Mr. Fletcher, 57% of the people that voted, he was not their first choice. So Alton and I were within 14 votes. I think I've got a really fair shot at that. The only thing is we've got to, over the next couple of months, teach people how to write Mistler. Mm-hmm. And I have some forms being made up that will show what the ballot will look like and my name on it. And I will be passing that out because my intention is to see every single person in this district on a one-to-one basis. A lot of what I did in the original campaign didn't stick. Whether my advertising was too wordy or what it was, a lot of people didn't get the message. And in the last 2 months, I see people at a fundraising breakfast or something, and we're talking, and said, I never understood that. So I know that when I talk to people on a one-to-one basis, they're going to understand what's going on. I tried to find a better adjective for this, but when you break the law, you're a criminal, in my estimation. And I've tried to find a nice way of saying it, but the incumbent is a criminal. He's a criminal because he broke the law, but it wasn't bad enough that he broke the law. He did one of the worst things that you can do as a representative of the people when you stop their right to vote and you illegally do it. And I've got to bring that message home, and I don't know how to soften it up. The fact of the matter is the law was broken and the people's right to vote was stopped. So that's going to be my message. Now, the last 4 months that I was running, it became very clear to me there's a lot more problems in Yuba County than just that. So we have this coming Thursday will be the final vote on the sales tax increase for Sutter County, or for Yuba County. So we're gonna I'll be there Thursday to see how they vote, and that might be interesting. But I can tell you that I'm opposed to that tax increase, In fact, most any tax increase. And I could probably spend a whole 10 minutes talking about these taxes and what I've been through over the last 20 years learning and taking the word of bureaucrats that this is going to be used for this and this is going. Let me tell you, folks, there's no way that this tax can be guaranteed to be for law enforcement fire. It can't happen. And even if you had a 2/3 vote on a special tax where that money went directly to the sheriff and the fire department, all they got to do is take money out of the other budget and move it. So there really are no guarantees. You have to look at what caused this problem. And we have a top-heavy government in Yuba County. We've seen the payrolls. We see what these guys are making, and we're giving raises to the upper echelon while we're getting rid of the road crews. So there's a lot of problems to be dealt with. But the thing that got me interested was I could not walk away from a representative of the people breaking the law and stopping their right to vote. I couldn't look the other way on that.
Well, and it seems amazing to me that at the same time where they stopped the vote from the people to vote on something that they needed, they're cramming this one down their throat saying you're going to vote on it and hoping they get the right outcome. So they're breaking the law both ways, it looks like to me.
Well, it certainly is interesting how easy it is to take money from the folks. But when you've got an opportunity to give back, it's thwarted. And believe me, there's no reason why the Yuba County Water Agency can't distribute the profits from those water sales to the people. There's no reason. And it doesn't cost any more. It's the same amount of money. Some goes to the pumpers, some go to the taxpayers, and some go to the water districts. It's simple, but they won't do it. And I think I'm getting the feeling that our three of the four new people in the water agency are going to go along the same way if this initiative gets to the ballot. So I think we really do have to let these people know. I may like another guy better, but I'm not going to ever let a politician stop my right to vote and then reward him for his bad behavior. It's just not going to happen, even if I don't like the other guy as well.
Yeah.
There has to be a message sent, and I think you were saying it, Jason. I think you hit it right on the head, that you can't allow this stuff to go on, and pretty soon it becomes a way of life.
Well, and I believe that's where we're at right now. It is a way of life, and it has to stop. And I think if we can really get everybody to buy into this, especially like Recology, those guys know what it is to go to City Hall and have it fall on deaf ears. Let's get those boys out there walking for you on the weekend. Let's get some grassroots movement to get you elected. It's not that hard. I don't know how many people are in District 5, but it can't be that many. And the whole thing is if we can do this, even if it takes people from Yuba City and Yuba County and Sutter County and even Butte County, like Palermo, doesn't District 5 butt up to Butte County in that area?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, the people need to understand what this is going to do. I mean, this is going to send a shockwave through the whole system if we get a write-in elected. And the reason it will is because that's all it is to get somebody unelected, is get enough people together and get enough votes, and you can pull them out and recall them. So if we can get you elected by a write-in, it means it's going to send that shiver down their spine that we can get them unelected by writing it in.
Well, it really shows.
What if they don't have a spine?
Well, it'll the little jello
It'll shake their whole jello body.
Exactly.
That is, by the way, phase 2. The recall
Yeah, I got you.
of all of them. Both counties, both sides of the river. Recall them all.
Well, I was on the Board of Supervisors in the early 90s, and I can tell you it wasn't this way 25 years ago. It was not this way. You didn't have... In those days, when I was on the Board of Supervisors, we could go, I would have people call in talking about potholes and problems that they had, and I could go right to the head of Public Works, and I didn't order him to do nothing. I didn't have that authority. But I could talk to him about a problem, and we got it done. Today, you don't have that freedom as a supervisor to do anything. It all goes through the county administrator. The rights of the people's representatives has been diminished over the last 25 years considerably.
Well, you can see
And
that
they've
when you
allowed
go
it.
to a meeting.
Was there a county administrator when you served, John?
Yes, there was. And he worked at the pleasure of the board, as did all of the department heads. And that makes a difference.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Exactly. So the people are still in control.
Right. That's correct.
John, I think that people were so relieved that a real solid candidate was in the race that they thought you had it. And Tammy and I last night were at the Yuba Sutter Fair working in Brandon Barnes's booth, and one of your constituents in District 5 stopped by, and he told me, you know, we're screwed. In District 5, we don't have a decent candidate. I said, well, you did. And he said, well, yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to get in, no problem. And I said, well, guess what? I have good news for you. You can write him in. And so this is the grassroots it's going to take to a phone bank to every single constituent in District 5. They have another, it's like another chance. They made a mistake, and maybe, you know, you didn't work hard enough either, but that's not going to happen again.
Guarantee you that.
And we're not going to lose for the sake of not trying, because we are going to work.
Or just maybe it's a God thing, and it was meant to play out like this for him to be a write-in to get everybody else's attention and to realize the people are going to be in control again. Well, whether they like it or not, that whenever Bill goes up and talks at the Sutter County Board of Supervisors, it's not going to fall on deaf ears because it can't anymore. It's just not going to be allowed, and that's what I believe. That's what I'm going with in my heart. Is it was a God thing, and here we go.
And I'm glad that you heard the call, John, because it is difficult. You know, agreeing to go back in, it's not easy, and it's going to be a lot of work, but we got to take the opportunity.
It's going to take a personal contact with every single voter. Mm-hmm. With every single voter, we cannot leave any stone unturned. We need to have a personal phone call, an email communication where it's, back and forth, or a face-to-face. That has to happen with every single constituent in that district.
Well, and we also need the true conservatives that say they are to get involved here.
Can you tell us what you know about Alton Wright? He's your competitor, along with Randy Fletcher. So you're back to where you were, like in the primary.
Randy, I don't know where he has been for the last 5 months because we haven't seen him in any of the debates or anything, and so it was mostly just Alton and I. And while I'm mentioning that, Randy didn't go but to one candidate's night in the foothills. And the people that were putting these on in the foothills resisted even putting them on, and I believe that was a protection for Randy. And so he ended up getting one, that he went to one 3 weeks before the election. So I'm hoping that we can get him out where he can answer to the people. When you go to meet and greet, you bring people in and you can talk to them and they can ask you questions and they get to know you and stuff. Randy's meet and greets were by invitation only. He never opened it up to the public. And so that's going to be an issue. But back to your original question, because of that, I got to know Alton probably better than I would have if the three of us were there. And I don't want to say anything bad about him. He and I probably are 180 degrees on most political issues. He's more into social issues than I am. I want to bring government back to the basics of government. And, like we're looking at this sales tax. Why don't we look at what got us there and correct that? Because what we're going to do is if we get a sales tax, and if it passes, we're going to do the same thing in a few years. Let's get back to the basics of government. And law enforcement and fire are the two basics of why we even have government. The rest of the programs we could take another look at. So Alt and I disagree. I think he's more into social things and having the government take care of things. I am more into, I like to hear what people have to say. And if you read the Territorial Dispatch opinions, you'll see a large variety of opinions. And I don't agree with a lot of them, but they get their say, and the other person gets their say, and you try to create a conversation. And in fact, that's what got me against Randy in the first place 4 years ago, is because he said he didn't believe I should be letting people put their opinions in the paper.
That's unbelievable.
He actually said that. Mm-hmm. So that's when I voted for Hal Stalker 4 years ago. And if anybody knows the history between me and Hal, there was a reason why I didn't vote for Randy. I don't know what else to say. Alton is a bright guy. He has a narrow vision of what he wants to see accomplished, and I think politically we just have some differences there. He's got some problems. I don't think he can beat Randy, but I don't want to badmouth him on.
Yeah. Well, when you put the finger on social issues, that is not the business of government.
Correct.
Right? So what you're saying is you're going to focus more on the dollars and cents, and also the basic infrastructure for the people is needs to be taken care of, besides the police and fire. Now, we have varied opinions in this room, and when it comes... Yes, we do.
Oh.
And when it comes to police and fire, in my mind, I think a lot of them are being paid just fine. So, and I think a lot of them are overpaid. Like I will mention the Gridley police chief, $337,000 a year. That computes out to about $1,200 a day. Now, to me, that guy's a thief. Okay, and there's other thieves in his circle that allowed that. So that's the bottom line. That's a thieving program going on. That's the kind of stuff that really makes me sick.
And it's pretty prevalent too.
It's prevalent
throughout the state.
Now, the other morning, okay, and I'm going to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:35, depending on where we're working. And the key word there is working. We are working for every dollar. And so I thought, this is Friday morning, man, and I'd like to have a cold drink on the way to work. I don't drink coffee, so I was thinking a little Starbucks, maybe, a cold one. And I had $2 to my name. So I go into a grocery store, and, man, there's the one I wanted was $2.49. So they don't take credit cards, So I had to suffer, and I seen this little one here for $1.88. And I thought, I can handle that, okay? I'm not going to leave here, parched. And I'm going to quench some of my basic desires here. So I get to the register, and the guy tells me it's $2.07. And I said, what? $2.07? The sign says $1.88. And he said, well, you got tax and you got CRV. Okay, and the thing, it's not a big gulp here, it's a little pencil can. It's not one of them even 12-ounce cans, the cans are getting smaller. So I said, man, I only got $2.07. Well, he wasn't going to throw in 7 cents for me, which I didn't expect him to. Would have been nice, but it didn't happen. And so I had to let it go. And, I had to drink some water when I got to work. So the moral of the story was that 19 cents out of that little purchase was going out to the government, okay? And that really irritated me. So, and I didn't think they could tax a food item.
Well, they've got to get their cold drinks too, Tom.
they're taxing food items.
Yeah.
And then
Snacks.
also, I just a little warning to the public: you better be aware on the CRV program because I actually went to the California state website on that, and CRV anything under 24 ounces is 5 cents, and I've been hit for 10 cents on some of these items lately. So, buyer beware.
Well, it's just like we went up, we were doing the Republicans' headquarters, and we went up and billed it and realized that there was a lumber fee on lumber. There's the tax, and then you got
Yes.
the lumber fee. And, I'm surprised they haven't started the fee yet. The fee for the fee.
Yeah, the fee.
Which I'm sure the fee's coming, but I just haven't thought of it yet.
Oh no, the fee is there, but
Oh,
we
the
just.
Fifi's already here.
Yeah.
Trust me.
But it's getting to be a little bit irritating, and that's the kind of stuff that that really chaps my hide.
All right. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. We got two things I got to play real quick. We'll be right back. Give us 2 seconds. Oh, well, 2 minutes.
For years, the Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom Democrats have been socking it to middle-class taxpayers and small business owners. Fueled by the corrupting influence of special interest money, the Sacramento politicians have saddled us with the highest income, sales, and gas taxes in the country. I'm John Cox, conservative businessman and Republican candidate for governor. I'm running to roll back the tide of tax increases and job-killing regulations that have driven up the cost of living and made California unaffordable. And I'll put an end to Jerry Brown's sanctuary state law that threatens the very safety of our families and our kids. Are you ready to fight back? If so, then I urge you to join with me in liberating California from the grip of Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom. Join the movement at johncoxforgovernor.com and follow me on Facebook. I can't do this alone, but together we can take California back. I'm John Cox, Republican for governor.
Paid for by John Cox for Governor 2018.
This is Yuba County Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and Chief of Investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff
Have you ever been to
2018.
that?
All right. We are back. And that was our Brandon Barnes ad, which we really believe that he's going to be our next sheriff. I mean, we were at his booth this weekend, and we all worked there, did some time there for him. So it ought to be very, very interesting. Looking forward to having him as our new sheriff. We'll play Dennis's House theme song whenever we go out one of these times today, the Big Deal Traffic Cop, because he was there. And, I got a question, guys. It's been... I went to his Facebook page because I surf all the candidates' Facebook page. I'm a little stalker, It's a lot of fun. I kind of enjoy it. Anyways, went to his Facebook page, and there's a Yuba City police car next to his booth, within his booth range. I'm just wondering if the FPPC knows about that and if that's a FPPC violation, because I've also heard that he's been out campaigning in uniform. I know he asked one of my friends if he could put a sign out in uniform. This has got to stop. This guy's wow.
Yeah, well, they were right next to the Yuba City PD booth.
Yeah, well,
Right next to it.
And maybe it was by luck of the draw, but to get it in the picture, yeah, come on, dude. You're brushing that a little bit close. I mean, it's up to you. You want to break the law, break the law. I mean, if that's what you are and you want to be a peace officer and break the law, go ahead, have at it. I guess that's okay.
But you forget, Jason, he really, really, really wants to be sheriff.
Oh, I know. He really, really wants it really bad.
Well, he wants to be able to break the law, but also not be bullied.
Yeah. So,
Doesn't want to be bullied,
fine line there.
but he really, really, really wants to be sheriff.
That's fair.
And he's a nice guy, so he apparently deserves to be sheriff because he's a nice guy.
Well, that's all it takes, because that's what everybody has to say about him. It was really interesting when we were at Brandon Barnes' booth and people would come by and say, oh, I'm always voting for Brandon. I don't need any literature. I already know. I know who I'm voting for. And then whenever somebody'd say they're voting for Dennis, Tammy would get this look on her face. She'd go, really? Why would you vote for the big deal traffic cop? He just really wants to be sheriff, but that isn't a good reason. It was just hilarious. It was awesome.
Well, after I explained that, Brandon Barnes has the relevant experience, whereas the other, it doesn't. His experience does not transfer to the position of the sheriff of the county. It's apples and oranges. You have one candidate who is very well versed in the sheriff's department. He's worked there his career, spent his career in the sheriff's department, runs the jail. He has the relevant experience. It's kind of a no-brainer.
He's got the experience, but I'm always a little skeptical. So I'm hoping that he will get a little bit more experienced in the Constitution for the people's sake.
Well, he did come to the
what I mean?
Constitution
Yeah,
class.
he did come to the class. Okay, but it takes more than a class,
Yeah.
man. It takes a little due diligence on your personal time to get a little bit deeper.
Well, what got me is Friday night when we were standing there in the booth, and Hal came walking by a couple of times. He would not even glance over towards our way. I mean, he would make it, cock his head a little bit to the left, so like.
See, and to me, it looks like
That's
he would be the guys he wants to talk to. He needs those votes. So why is he not over there talking to you and saying, "Hey, you know what? I understand you're voting for Brandon, but this is what I have to offer." Yada yada yada. The turning the cold shoulder to somebody, like I've never talked to the guy, not once.
But hey, something? He might make it on theatrics because a lot of, I saw a lot of theatrics there that night.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
Well, he
there
looked
were.
like he was campaigning for Cotton Rosser to pick him up for the Flying U rodeo portion of the Yuba Sutter
I mean,
Fair.
I seen
He was all cowboyed up, wasn't
he was.
I seen some
Yeah,
guys
he was.
juggling there. There he had two little midgets running around and stuff like that. So I
Well, also, I thought maybe the reason
Can you
why
say that?
I don't think you can say midget on the radio.
Two little
little
vertically
people,
challenged
they're
people.
little people.
Oh my goodness.
oh well, I'm from the 1950s, man.
Okay.
Are you saying you're crotchety?
No, I'm not crotchety.
You're old school.
Wow.
I just say it like I see it. So
What's the matter, Randy?
yeah.
Well, I get a little offended at that midget stuff.
Liz and I have another image in our heads because we talked to somebody who
Oh gosh, I almost forgot
can't get,
about
I
that.
can't get that image out of my head.
Oh
So-
my gosh, yeah, we met. Yeah,
The fair is
I think-
always a fun place.
I think when you have freedom
Never
of speech,
know who you're gonna meet.
when you have freedom of speech, you're allowed to embellish a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
that was a little embellishment.
So, it was your opinion that they were midgets.
Actually, it was a total fabrication.
So they weren't midgets; they were minions.
Yeah.
Not minions.
No,
That's
it-
called
it-
literary license.
There you go. It was a little literary license. Yeah, that's a tongue twister.
well, it was funny because when Tammy and I were working our segment yesterday together, gosh, Tom, you bring a tear to my eye. You make me laugh so hard. Jeez. So when Tammy and I were working, basically everybody that went by said, yeah, we're supporting. A couple of people said, what do you mean? There's a runoff? Thought you won it. Mm-hmm. Then we were looking for those people that said, when we asked them, do you live in Sutter County? Yes. Have you decided on who you're supporting for sheriff? Yes. Can we count on your support for Brandon Barnes? No. Ding, 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 ding. There's our people. So we simply asked, why? Okay, and they were very kind. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were nice people, kind of like their friend Dennis. He's a nice guy. Mm-hmm. He's got nice signs. He likes the community. He cares about us.
But but their whole response was, well, he's my friend.
So it's a popularity contest,
Yeah.
always, is what it comes down to. And that's another reason why I can't believe John Mistler wasn't victorious in his run.
That's why I said theatrics might take it over the line. You never know.
No way.
You never know.
No way. Too many votes separates them. That's what I'm going with. Still not going to say I'm going to work any less hard. I was at the fair for I don't know how many hours you had me there, but
I'm just telling you. In the past, we've seen some upsets, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Well,
Yes.
I would
So
consider mine an upset.
You never know, man.
Win the
You
night
never know.
of, and then 7 days later get told, "Oh no, you're behind now." Okay. Okay. Well, back to John Mistler. When are you going to have? When are you going to start walking? When are we going to see signs? What can our sign crew do for you? When are we going to have a shindig for you over at the headquarters? Do we know any of this yet?
Some of it.
Okay.
We're going to start with signs almost immediately.
Okay.
I got a guy yesterday to agree to go with me. And, the ground's harder now than it was before. So I got somebody that's got some strength to put those posts in the ground.
Well,
to go
good
with me.
news. We have a sign crew, so get us some locations, and we'll be glad to put them out also.
Okay.
So you get us some locations. We got some young guys that are ready to go. So
I'll do that.
okay.
And then the paperwork starts tomorrow. And
Okay.
some of the paperwork won't be done till the 1st of September. That's the law on a write-in.
Okay.
So I would imagine that I originally had figured on starting to walk this week, but putting up the signs, and see, the problem with putting up the signs is I know where they go, I know who's given me permission and those kind of things, and it's kind of hard to delegate that. So I have a guy that's going to do a lot of the heavy work for me, but we'll be doing that at least on Wednesday and Saturday. And then Thursday, I've got this tax thing going on. And then there's a thing, I don't know if you guys know about it, about 7, 8 o'clock Thursday night over in Yuba City at the Constitutional Republican.
Yeah, we know a little bit about that.
So Thursday's pretty well taken up. So I'm thinking right now that I'll probably begin to walk a week from tomorrow. And I have, I'm really getting organized on this. I've got a map. It's got every precinct on it. I've got a list of how many votes each of us got in each of those precincts. I have a list of who voted and who did not vote. And then I have a walking list by precincts. And I've got 2 guys that have said that they will drive me and we'll go do these walking lists. So they'll drive and then I can get out and talk to the people and then go into the next house on the list.
You're going to be like Rocky Balboa, right? Jogging along beside the truck.
Yeah. So I've got that much organized.
Okay.
But this whole thing began about noon Friday for me, and I spent yesterday at Forbestown, and I just got to get some of the paperwork and things done in the next couple of days, and the signs up, and then it's all walking from there. This group that from the foothills that we met with, I mean, they're helping me too. And they've said they will take care of all these things because I did all my own paperwork, and I don't know if you've ever done that stuff, but it isn't fun. I thought I would do everything myself last time, and that's also part of the reason I didn't do better because you can't do it all yourself. And I really appreciate your offer for help, and I'll take you up on it. And I'm not doing this by myself.
Good.
So
Chris Starkey just texted in from One Eye Blind Media. He said he started making you up some stuff for online for your Facebook page and stuff like that right now. He said he should have it up and running in a couple of days for
Fantastic.
graphics for a website and for your Facebook page.
Wow.
So get a hold of him. If you don't
I'll
have his
do-
contact information, I've got it for you.
I've got him.
Okay.
So
Give him a call. He said he's going to start working on it right now.
thank you very much.
And so I think we can get you enough people. We need to get him a date set for a fundraiser.
Yeah, we got to get you on the calendar for a fundraiser.
And check it out, guys. I know it's Yuba County District 5, but here's the deal. I'm going to say it again. If you want your voice to be heard by your supervisors and by your city council, it's not a District 5 race for us. It's an everybody race for us. He needs money. He needs walkers. He needs everything we can get. Guys to put signs in, guys to help take signs around. Whatever you can do, whatever you're willing to do. If you can't do anything, I know everybody can afford $10. So let's get together. Let's have a party and get some money made for him. Let's do some stuff. But seriously, don't listen to the cliche of, well, I don't have a dog in that fight. It's not my area. BS. This is what's going to send the message. If we, the people, get a write-in elected, I promise you, it's going to echo through our whole area. Colusa, Sutter, Yuba, Butte, it's going to echo through all of them. They're going to know the people are back in charge.
We have a dog in the fight because corruption is rampant throughout California.
And
Yes.
throughout
You know,
our 2 counties here.
yes, that's
Hey,
right.
John, just, some people are listening. They don't know what district they're in. So if you would, how about explain District 5 boundaries?
District 5 is everything north of the Yuba River in Yuba County. And there's a little bit that's in what you would think is Linda, which is south of the river. Of course, Smartsville is south of the river. And then you go down Hamilton-Smartville, and there's Hamilton-Smartsville Road, and there's an area down there that's in the 5th District that a lot of people don't realize. And that's probably going to be one of the first areas I go to make sure that they know that they're in the 5th District. So, but it's basically everything north of the Yuba River.
Okay. And that's going to be a big deal for us, I think, for us at the Spotlight here and at the Republicans' headquarters and everything else, is to get out the idea that it's more than a District 5 race, but we need to educate the people on why it is and get these people to understand that, they need a voice. And this is going to be that voice right now.
Say, Jason, let me correct myself on that. The city of Marysville is not part of the 5th District, even though it's north of the Yuba River. But
Okay.
that's the only part that isn't.
Okay.
Now, if people are doing a write-in and they spell your name wrong, it's not going to be counted? I mean, if they spell John, Jon, instead of John.
This is, I don't know if you know, but I went through a recount about a month ago, and I learned a lot sitting there for 2 days and watching. And I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with the clerk recorder. That was quite a process to see how they do that. But they really go by the intent of the voter. So I'm going to have some things made up, and I'm going to try to have everybody Mistler. That's all. But I think if you had John in there, JM, they go by the intent. So you've got Alton, and you've got Randy, and then you've got a blank. It says write-in. If there's no Alton and there's no Fletcher, then in the write-in, if it says John or Mistler or something like that, they're going to go with the intent of the voter. Now, if they put Sally in there, I don't think they would count it. But they do a good job of going with the intent of the voter.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to...
It's honest and fair.
Okay. How many first names can you have, and how long does it take to change your first name?
You sound like a Democrat.
Hey, they have some pretty good ideas sometimes. No.
They made a lot of ground in California.
You think I just jumped up and slapped Liz the way she's looking at me?
Okay, just so everybody knows, you're listening to The Patriot. That's 1410 AM and 104.3 FM.
I think that we just need to make a jingle or something like MIMIS MISTLER MIMIS MISTLER. Ta-da!
You and Timmy can work on that as much as you need. Oh boy.
That was beautiful.
That was perfect.
Thomas,
Yes.
thank you.
That was
You're
right.
welcome.
That was on the fly. You just did that.
Yeah, I'm crazy like that.
We know.
So, as a supervisor, what would you focus on right away? I mean, do you believe? I mean, I believe the sheriff's department is always going to be crying for money, just like every other agency. You know what I mean? And we had Tang in here, and and I believe him. He said, there's some trimming that can be done, and I believe that's true too. So what do you think?
Well, I think that's exactly right. There is trimming to be done. Now, you look at a supervisor as a policy maker, and you can get I'm going to fix the roads, I'm going to do this. No, you can't really. You're a policy maker, and you have got to convince at least two others that you want to go a direction. But I think good management, you work with the people that are in the departments, and they have an incentive to do what's right for the people. You've got to instill that. Now, right now, I think nobody, including the politicians, are afraid of the public anymore. So I think you can instill this feeling of wanting to do the right thing for the public because you might lose your job if you don't. But when you talk about trimming, I think there is a lot of trimming, and I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody until I've had a chance to see the budget and to see what goes on. But let's talk about one thing, and I hope I'm not off base too far on this, but the Sheriff's Department just put a brand new building in. Okay, well, evidently they get that money from the state and doesn't come out of the general fund or out of our local funds. But the maintenance on that building does. And I'd be very curious to see how much our maintenance went on. That's just one thing. But think about the maintenance on that big building over there and what that costs a month. Does that maintenance cost us a deputy? And that's the way you got to look at things, the way I see it. You got to figure out what is really going on, where's the money going, and is it being put to the use that is the best for the public, or is it for washing windows or something like that? 'Cause sometimes a dirty window might be better. You might having a deputy might be better than
Well, gee whiz,
washing the
for
window.
maintenance, it's a jail, for Pete's sakes. Get those inmates scrubbing the windows, scrubbing the floors.
Well, we used to have the inmates clean along the roadsides in the foothills too. I don't know the last time that those, I guess you call them gutters, but anyway, the little ditches along the road, they've got to be cleaned. And we used to have a prison crew that came out there. They had one guy that managed them, and they kept all that flowing. Well, now you got the culverts on your driveway are plugging up, and so I don't think we use the prisoners to the most efficient way. And there's also CAL FIRE prisoners. Now I have seen the road crews bring CAL FIRE in and cut some of the brush along the road that's getting out into the road stuff. But I don't want to cast aspersions until I've had a chance to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think learning the budget, and I talked to Wendell Anderson when we were still running, and I said, one of the things I want to do is I want to get together and know your budget as well as you do. And then we can start to talk about where I can help him help the taxpayer.
I hope to hear Wendell say, I've got some ideas and I'm going to do this and do that, okay, and not start right out of the gate begging for more money. That's what I'm hoping to see from Wendell. I hope you heard that, Wendell.
Here's another interesting thing about that. You know, we've had this little dog and pony show that's gone all over the county talking about the taxes. And that was done by county staff and county officials. It wasn't done by the Board of Supervisors. Now, in my estimation, is the best way to do that, the right way, is that each county supervisor should have been holding town hall meetings and letting the public talk to their representative about this instead of the officials going around. But the interesting thing is, I don't think you saw the sheriff or the fire chief say they supported this tax. They told you what was wrong, or what, in their estimation, what was wrong, and in the funds that they were short. But they never said they supported the tax. And I've talked to them, so they made it clear to me that we're just telling you what it's like.
I'm awful curious about how these people that you're talking about got the label official when they're employed by us.
They're officially employed by us.
Officially employed by us.
Yeah.
to officiate over us. Is that the deal? I mean, I'm the boss at my place, and I write the checks. Okay? Guess who's the official?
You.
Me. Yes.
But we've lost that in government.
I always thought
Big
it was
time.
Mary.
Yeah.
I mean, in the state of California,
It's not.
you know, we've lost that concept in the state of California by a long shot. I mean, they don't care about what we want or anything. They do whatever they want to do, and I'm afraid that could catch on in Yuba and Sutter County if we don't do something about it.
I think it's already
Oh,
caught.
my
Well,
gosh.
you're right.
Too late.
But it may not be too late to stop it.
Needs to be turned around.
Yes.
Big time.
Yep.
Now, I had a little ordeal with the new building there. I did some work on that building, the sheriff's department, and I thought it could have been managed a little bit better. And I went into the county to ask them when we're going to get our money, okay? And one of the big boys down there, I don't even remember his name, he got his feelings hurt because my voice was too strong for him. And so he produced a letter saying that I needed to be a little bit more calm or whatever. And all I asked him is, we just want to know when our money's coming. Okay. So after
How dare
having to negotiate with some other county people, I told them this crybaby down here that letter needs to be rescinded before I'm ever going to sign that I settled on the dotted line. And they rescinded it. Okay, so we got a little too much crying and whining from these pampered employees. And that's what I think.
Bully.
bust the unions.
John, it'll be interesting to see the other 4 supervisors. I know Andy obviously is in his own race, but I'm wondering what they're thinking. If you come on, it's probably going to shake them up a little bit in their thought process also.
I think so. But all my life, I've worked with people that I didn't particularly like, and I still got the job done, and I still worked with them. And I'm not saying I don't like them, but I'm saying that you can have a difference of opinion and still work together to the end result. So I think that some of them would probably prefer. I know that Andy would prefer that Randy stayed in, but I can work with any of those people. I've been doing it for 40 years, and the territorial dispatch, everything isn't always rosy from the people that call me down there. So, but I'll tell you, if you don't mind me just talking about that a minute, I've had
We'd love to hear it.
I have had people come into the territorial dispatch and they'll be really upset about something. They'll call me a racist, or they'll call me a homophobe, or whatever it is. I invite them back to my office and we sit down and we talk about it. And not one of them has left mad when we sit down and talk things out. So I really kind of enjoy people trying to attack me or disparage me. I like to have that opportunity to talk about it, because everything I do, I think about the result of it and how it affects other people, partially to defend myself, given these things. So I don't know where the 3 new guys stand, but I know that Andy Vasquez will not be happy with me being in there, but we'll get around it.
Is he
Sucks to
ever
be
hap-
Andy.
Yeah, is he ever happy with anything? He's not happy with Jason, I know.
But I'll also like to say,
Fired him in, like in a flash.
I don't know what the feeling is in this room, but Joan Saunders had 150 votes less than Andy Vasquez, and the other guy had 300 and some. I think Joan's got a very good chance of beating Andy. I really do. I don't know what she's doing, but I think she could do it.
That's amazing to me.
But the thing of it is, I know that Joan and I could work together. Things that we feel different about, but we can work together. And
So excited for District 5 in Yuba County and the rest of Yuba County.
Yuba City Council. You guys, that was for you. In particular, you. And both Yuba County and Sutter County Board of Supervisors could take a note of that also. man up. Get a spine. The sanctuary city for you, for Yuba Sutter County. Man up. Come on.
I think he said be an alpha, not an ass.
Yeah, exactly. Lead the way. Don't be an ass about it. But we haven't seen that so
have a
far.
backbone.
Yeah. Well, that's like Tom was saying earlier. Do they actually have a spine, or is it just jello? Let us know. All right. Well, we're back with John Mistler. I think you have a question for him, don't you, Bill?
Yeah, John, we were discussing earlier before we went on the air just how much it cost Yuba County to rebrand themselves, or Yuba County Water Agency, to take the word county out of it. Do you think that was a ploy just to get them away from the word county so they wouldn't be associated with that?
You know, that's a really difficult issue to get to the bottom of, because as I understand it, legally, it is still the Yuba County Water Agency. And they're calling themselves the Yuba Water Agency. So why did they do that? It's really hard to tell. And I asked one of the former directors of the water agency, I said, what's this all about? Because I'm kind of a little bit paranoid when people start, what are you up to? So he said, we always had a problem with people thinking that we were part of the county. Well, aren't you part of the county? So I didn't get a good answer from him, but I don't know the specific answer to your question. But we know that the water agency took it upon themselves to go to court and take the ability to do initiatives away from the county clerk and give it to themselves. Now you've got, for the county clerk to fight that, she would have to fight it with taxpayer money, and the water agency and their bank of lawyers would wipe them out. And oh, by the way, the fact that the 5 supervisors are also the water agency, what chance did she have of defending her office and the right to do initiatives? So at that point, I want to say that one of the things I want to do when I get in there is I want to begin the discussion of let's get the Board of Supervisors off of the Yuba County Water Agency. And maybe you have one, but the rest of them are 3 on each side of the river to become a water agency. What you have now is every time you have a Board of Supervisors election, you have 5 of the 7 that don't really know much about water. So they do what they're told to do. And the other bad thing about this is that the Yuba County could be more diligent in their budgeting if they knew they had to do a budget that would stand up. Now they say, well, I'll put on my water agency hat and we'll make up the difference. So every time the county gets into a financial strait, they don't have to live up to that. They just put on their water agency hat and borrow money from the water agency or give it or whatever it is. So to make the county more fiscal responsible, I think you got to get the board off there and make those people know they've got to submit a budget that will stand up and hold together. So, but to answer your question, I don't know that figure, and I don't know that it's available right now. I haven't looked into it, but the bottom line is it is still the Yuba County Water Agency. And there's one other thing I was going to say about that. Oh, they say they're not part of the county, and with the exception of the initiative, they still go through the clerk recorder on legal notices and everything else. So does the water agency pay the clerk to do these legal notices and stuff and all the other functions that the clerk does? There's just a whole lot of little weeds here that have to be worked out. But you've got $1 billion operation over there, and we don't have any oversight on it. We've got 7 members that should be, and you might have 2 out of the 7.
Now, you said a mouthful when you said there's people that get elected that don't know nothing about water, except, when they're thirsty, you got to drink some. But I think that's prevalent, and I would like to refer to Grace Espindola over there in Sutter County. I mean, I think she's ran for city council, Sutter County supervisor. City of Live Oak. I mean,
She's doing pretty good for somebody who lives in Calusa, huh?
yeah. But any public job, I mean, that's what she wants, right? I don't know what's going on there, but to me, that's red flags everywhere. And then you got Stan Cleveland, he just needs a job. And these are the kind of people that are getting in positions of authority, supposedly servitude, that are, they're not qualified.
Right.
That's the bottom line. They're not qualified.
Right.
So
When I became a supervisor, and I was originally appointed by Governor Pete Wilson, I was a carpenter, and I came home for lunch and I got a call from the governor. And the next day I was a supervisor. So that's the way our system is set up, that you've got people with a variety of job experience, hopefully job experiences. And then you bring them in, and that's what I was trying to say earlier, when they're policy makers. So when the government is operating, you represent the people point of view to that government, and which is now lost. But so for a county supervisor, you got a variety of people from all walks of life, and they become supervisors. And hopefully, the reason they got elected is because they had enough idea of what was going on and how to protect the people and truly be the representative. But in Yuba County's case, those people also, 5 of them, serve on a water board, and they don't know anything about the water laws. Did you know that the only water that you own is in that bottle in the refrigerator, if you're in the state of California? And I've got people, some supervisors from Sutter County, saying they own the water. No, read the water code. You do not own the water unless you buy a bottle and put it in your refrigerator. It belongs to all of the people.
I asked the Yuba City Public Works at a meeting one time, who owns the water? And she didn't answer the question, and I said, you didn't answer the question, and here's what she said: I'm not going to answer the question on who owns the water. But that is a good question, huh? Who owns the
Absolutely.
water?
People own the water.
The
It's
peop-
our water.
Yeah,
The
the
people-
people own the water. That's what I think too,
The
Liz.
people of the state of California, that's the first sentence in the water code. The people of the state of California collectively own the water. No individual owns water, but you have the right to use water. So you can use it if you have a well, you have a right to use that water as long as it stays on your property. You have a right to use it, but it doesn't belong to you. And it's the same thing with water permits or anything else. You have a pre-1914 water right. You have a right to use that water, but you do not own it.
Okay.
And that's a big difference in what's going on right now.
Well, how about these pumpers? I mean, I don't know much about them, but I heard they're selling. I mean, they're making money on the water that is coming off from underneath their land, right?
Well, what they're doing is, prior to the building of Bullard's Bar Dam, the farmers flood irrigated from well water for their crops. When Bullard's Bar was built and we formed water storage, the people of Yuba County, it was all public money, no individual money. So then the farmers were able to use water rights from the water districts to bring on their property and flood irrigate surface water out of the river. Well, immediately they cut out maybe $100,000 a year in pumping costs. I don't know what the cost was. Maybe Randy knows it better than I do. But anyway, the point was they all of a sudden made a pretty good profit because they cut out their pump. And nobody's complaining about that. But then the state of California came in 1990 and said, because of drought situations, we want to buy your storage water. So the water districts went to the farmers and said, if you will not take your allotment out of the river so we can move it on down to the state of California, and then you have to go back to pumping your water, we will reimburse you from the sale of that water. We will reimburse your pumping costs and a little bit more. So that it's really, they're giving up their right to use that water. They don't own it, but their right to use it, and pumping instead, and then getting reimbursed for it. And in 1990, it was $125 an acre foot. There have been times over the last 20 years when it's been $750 an acre foot. And there's been no control over this other than every year they have to bid on what the price is going to be, depending upon, drought year or an over rain year, you got a lot of water. What changes the dynamics, but they do not own it. They have a right to use it. And that's where we're at. So
But they're making a killing on it too.
Absolutely.
And do they own the money that they made a killing on?
They think they own the water.
Yeah.
So-
But the water code I've been in some discussions, and Randy knows I have, with some water people, and they didn't even know that the water code said they don't own the water. You do not own the water in California.
Well, that's going to be a whole nother topic for a whole nother day that we'll get to delve into that.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up this segment. I just wanted to say one thing that struck me as funny is you can't whisper in my ear without whispering in everybody else's
I know. Well,
ear.
I'm trying. We gotta get going because we got a lot to cover. But I also really want to make sure that we give John plenty of time because he's in for a fight, folks, and we got to help him out because honestly, there is nobody better. I mean, literally, the day I talked to John, I believe it was Friday, I was on my way to work and I was listening to last week's Lou Bittinger. And he come on, he says, you're going to have to kind of, in a nutshell, we're going to have to vote for one. And I really hadn't thought about it up to that point. We've been kind of quiet on it other than we couldn't believe that John lost. And who are we going to vote for? I mean, really? I mean, were we going to vote for Alton and go against everything we believe? Or are we going to vote for Randy Fletcher, who we know is a crook and a cheat? I mean, it's just, it was, and what we're looking at, folks, is, I know we got to move on, but we got to look at it as we're done with the lesser of two evils. We're going to vote for the right person, for the right man for the job, and get him in there and get it done. And we're going to, and at the same time, it's twofold. We're going to get to send a shockwave through the system that it can happen, and the system is still there on our behalf to make it work.
We need a box that says none of the above.
Yeah.
On our ballot. You know what I mean? That's what.
Well, we've got it. It's the write-in.
Yes.
But I mean, you're right. We do need the box, but at the same time, we've got it. We've got the write-in spot. We just got to teach people how to use it this election, and it's got to be a consecutive. Everybody across the board, write it in.
Well, I think John helped us fill in a few blanks today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it was good.
Thank you.
We're going to get him a fundraiser put together over at the headquarters just as soon as we possibly can and get that going. And if you'd like to, John, we'd love to have you there Thursday night if you're available. We've got who's coming in?
Mark Moiser and Konstantinos Roiditis. And Roiditis is running for state controller, and Moiser is running for Secretary of State.
And they're not coming in, though, until like 9, correct?
Yeah,
8:30 or so, and prior to that, they're riding into Yuba County. By the way, they almost got their bike stolen last night.
Wow.
They put a live on Facebook. But,
So what they do? Give a beat down to someone trying to steal their bike?
well, they chased them off. They chased them off, and the guys got away. But the cops knew who they are. They're local knowns. So anyway, 6 o'clock over at Veterans Park in Marysville, they're riding into Yuba County. From Grass Valley, and then 8 o'clock. And ours opens at 7, but they'll be there between 8 and 8:30, and we'll have a good time. And we're going to try and have a dry run at the casino night. So all you people with money burning in your pockets, come on by.
All of that information, Jason, will be in the Territorial Dispatch that comes out Tuesday.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Also, if you would like to speak and want a stage to speak on, come by. I know we've got who's speaking first over there? David Shaw. David Shaw is coming on about 7:15. So if you wanted to show up 7:30 to whenever and speak a little bit, we'd be glad to have you. So you can speak to a crowd and tell them what you're doing, what you got going on. Hopefully you'll have some signs by then to drop off for us, and we'll get a couple of them on the wall and start going.
Very good. Thank you.
And I want to thank you for that great little newspaper, the
Yes.
Territorial Dispatch. The only one I read. I mean, I read the other one, and I throw it in the corner.
Well, and that's the whole thing is you're getting a straight shot from the Territorial Dispatch, and we appreciate that. I mean, we really, really do. So.
Yuba County has a very unique and wonderful opportunity ahead of them. So we're not going to squander it this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on. You can stick around if you like, definitely. What we got going on is, what do we got with the endorsements for Brandon Barnes? Wasn't that something we were going to talk about? I'm completely off script, but I know we wanted to talk about endorsements for Brandon Barnes. And I don't want to miss that.
Tammy and I, we know what's shaken over there in Sutter County with Brandon Barnes. And we were passing out this little handout at the fair last night, but it's outdated because on here there are 13 active sheriffs that have endorsed Brandon Barnes. In addition to that, we have the Colusa County Sheriff Joe Garofalo now, obviously the Yuba County Sheriff Wendell Anderson, and the Amador County Sheriff Martin A. Ryan. In addition, the Deputy Sheriff's Association came out with their endorsement for Barnes. Tammy, can you lead us off with which active sheriff has endorsed Dennis Houck?
Hey, is it dark outside?
That would be a no. No.
You mean not a single one?
I'm pretty sure. No.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
That's it.
Well, I'm glad he really, really wants to be sheriff, because hopefully that'll cinch it for him.
Well, and we understand that there are more coming down the pipe here.
Yeah,
so,
he's got an appointment this week, so there'll be another one to add to the list. But yeah, I mean, that's amazing, all those active sheriffs that are standing behind him. And, then you ask, who's standing behind Dennis Houck as an active sheriff?
Yeah, but you got to look out for Dennis Houck, because I don't know.
Hey,
Oh, my uniform is so neat as I walk along the street, dressed so nicely from my bottom to the top. All the motorists in sight are incredibly polite, cause they know that I'm a big deal traffic cop. My buttons is nicely shined, and what have we here? Oh, parked in a loading zone. When a motor car I finds in a set of yellow lines, I just purses up my lips all thin and tight. First I scribbles out a ticket, tears it quickly out and lick it. Then I plucks it on the car with all my might. Bad luck, eh? How I love to see the piles of the cars for miles and miles as they wait for me to send them on their way. If a fellow in the line tries to flash at me a sign, I just smiles and keeps him waiting there all day. But the best thing that I like is to sit upon my bike, waiting carefully behind the nearest tree. When a car comes shooting past, I just gives my horn a blast. When I chase her, oh, there's just no stopping me.
Does the sheriff's department have a traffic division?
wow.
No.
Because if they do, he is fit for the job. But I think their biggest thing is running the jail and writing budgets.
That was a treat, getting to see Liz's reaction in person this time. That was
The
funny.
traffic cop? Well, he is a big deal traffic cop.
and he really, really, really wants to be sheriff.
Just ask him.
I think what he really, really wanted last night was a pair of spurs
Well-
to go with that. And maybe a pair of chaps.
Did he have a white hat on too, or what?
He
No.
did, yeah.
Can't wear a
Hey,
black hat.
maybe he was in the mutton busting. I mean,
Hey, there you go. Hey, my kid was into that.
Don't you got to be like 12 or something for that?
or act like
Under.
it.
Okay. Under 12. Okay. All right. So we know Brandon's got a lot of endorsements by other sheriffs. And I mean, he's just the man for the job. That's all there is to it. But we got to move on. Keep on.
You know
moving.
what I think would be awesome is that list of sheriffs you got there, all these photos, that every one of these guys would show up to our Constitution class. Now that would be awesome.
That would be.
Well,
Because
the
that's what
invitation's open.
that's what needs to happen. You know, all these sheriffs need to crack that Constitution open.
Talking about sheriffs and cracking the Constitution open, did you see where Sheriff DiAugustini gave the
U.S. Forestry Service, the
boot out of his county. Said, you're done.
He stripped them of
Pack
all
your
their
bags.
authority.
Yes. Yeah, and that's beautiful.
What a super statement of how the sheriff is supposed to interpose between the federal government and the people.
Are you listening, Wendell?
Because I mean, that is his job, is to interpose and say, you know what, you've done enough. You're not gonna harass and eat out the substance of my people anymore. You're done.
Yeah.
Get out of town.
His job is to stand for the civil rights of the people in his county. You
Right.
betcha.
Be out of
And
town by
stop all
sundown, buddy.
encroachment against those civil rights.
I love that guy. Is he on here?
Be out of-
D'Agostini? I don't think so.
Be out of town by sundown.
But our little El Dorado County, California sheriff, D'Agostini, he's made the national news because of that, because of him
Yes.
standing up and doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a badass.
But
for
it's
doing
not
that.
the first time. Fish and Game was the first one
Yes, that's
that he
right.
came up and stomped on, and you know what,
Yeah.
and put his foot on their throat and said, you know what, you're done.
Now that guy, you talked about being a man, or you had played that little segment. All right.
He's an alpha.
Yeah, he's a man.
Well-
He's a man that deserves some respect.
Yes.
D'Agostini. And I hope all these other sheriffs can pattern themselves and live up to that kind of a reputation.
Well, and what's nice is it's so close and it's so relevant for our sheriffs that, you know, the first time that you run into them, I mean, you can say, well, what do you think about D'Agostini? It's right there. They know what's going on. So it is kind of nice. I mean, it's a real blessing to have him that close because, I mean, what a nice, you know, point to be able to point at all the time in our area.
We had some other sheriffs in that same group with him, too, that were part of the Constitutional Sheriff's Association. And one of them was up there by Wairika. And I can't remember the county up there. All the way up next to the Oregon border.
That's Del Norte, right at the border. Right at the
Del
border.
Norte,
Del Norte.
yes. That sheriff there is a good sheriff. And a little further to Siskiyou County. Siskiyou County.
Siskiyou County, Lassen, Modoc,
Yes.
those are good sheriffs,
Yes,
too.
yes.
I mean, they actively let the militia train in their area and know about it, come out and visit and everything else. I mean, they're pretty interesting up
Yes.
that neck of the woods.
Even God Almighty was there one time.
Okay, now we're still 2 hours behind, so
Okay.
let's get going. We have an upcoming meeting tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, when everybody can be there.
Right.
Oh, well, everybody that counts can be there except for the people.
Right. John Mistler was talking about oversight and how we have hardly any oversight left. Well, that's definitely the case in Sutter County. So tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. at the supervisor's chambers. It is at the chambers, right?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
haven't changed anything. They're sneaky like that, you know.
They're going to change it at 6 in the morning. The location that's going to happen at 8 in the morning.
And
Surprise!
this is for the LD1 and LD9 meeting to shove another tax down our throats.
Oh, I thought you were going to say shove it somewhere else.
Another assessment.
Not where she'd like to shove it.
And LD stands for Levy District.
Levy District. And the Territorial Dispatch always does a great job of printing the opinions. And you have a big one coming out on Tuesday. I actually can't wait for my Territorial, and it goes online at 4 p.m. It's like crack, man. I'm just right on it. Need my TD.
You know,
So-
I'm going to miss that in Idaho. I really am. I like that.
You know you can get it online.
And you
Yeah.
can get a subscription. They'll mail it to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've got I heard on Lou's show not this weekend, last weekend, that there was a guy that called in to Lou to say thank you for some of his write-ups in the Territorial Dispatch. He lives in Santa Rosa, I believe.
Yeah, it was Santa Rosa.
Guy sounds like a real patriot. I want to write because he can't listen to the show because he's too far away.
He can stream it.
I got you, but he doesn't. He admitted that he doesn't. But what I'd like to do is put an ad in the dispatch of, you know, that we need people to walk. And I'd like to see this guy show up because I want everybody to understand. If he'll take the time to drive over here, I'll go pick him up. I don't care. If he would come over and walk for John for just a little bit, because I want people to understand this is bigger with this write-in thing. It's bigger than you could possibly imagine. It's going to echo everywhere, so I promise. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but I really think we need to beat that home. So keep going. I'm sorry.
I'm with you on,
Why do you
on that,
Why
Jason.
do you hate to bring it up? It's
Well, I
Possibly
want to
the-
keep moving forward. I keep going backwards.
Christmas in August,
Yes,
for Pete's sake.
exactly.
It's going to be a minor miracle
It is.
to see it take place, but it can take place.
But it will take place.
It's going to take place.
It's going
I
to take
believe
hard
it.
work, but
Yes,
we've never shied away from hard work. We've proven that.
that's a fact.
I know Tom doesn't shy away from hard work, and I know Randy doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
and Bill sure doesn't. He's been down at the stupid headquarters with me. Finally, last night he's like, "Dude, I'm done, and you're going home." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You got to go home. You just got to go home for a few hours." I'm like,
So
okay.
back to the Sutter County Taxpayers Association and the opinion piece that was written by the president, Pat Miller. We know that the group received a letter from the attorneys from LD1, Levy District 1 and Levy District 9, basically telling her she was misinformed, did not have the correct information, shut your pie hole, and on and on and on. So we know that. We have it. We've seen it. Poor Pat Miller doesn't know anything about it because she's in London. She's in the UK right now. But we have got to protect our Sutter County Taxpayers Association. They are truly, we know what's going on with the Sutter County Grand Jury, another watchdog that they've silenced. So please, if you are able, come to that meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow in the supervisor's chambers.
You know what I'm tired of hearing? I'm tired of hearing these letters from these attorneys saying, shut your pie hole
Isn't that
to all the
something?
citizens. That is absolutely ridiculous. Do they not know who's in charge? Well, obviously not. They don't realize the people
they're
are in
attorneys.
charge.
They know the Constitution. Just back off.
That's right.
Hey, check it out. I'm kind of excited to see the outcome from my attorney that's meeting with the city over at the city tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning to see that the idiot that wrote my firework ticket decided
Well,
he would
let's-
go ahead and fill it out further after the fact, after I signed it, and go ahead and I don't know what he did. But
Well, let's just say we're not dropping it. Stay tuned. We're going to pursue this
apparently
further.
I've said too much, so I'll shut up now. But the fact is get ready. He's coming.
There's always something going on. So that's at 8:30. We need to keep your wonderful attorney in our thoughts and prayers. And
Yes, and this guy just stepped up. I mean, it was beautiful. So I really appreciate it, and thank you very much. And you know, whatever the outcome, it is what it is. But the fact is the kangaroo court that I went to was a joke. I mean, an absolute joke. And whenever I asked the guy sitting across the table from me, who are you and what's your deal here? He goes, "Well, you don't know who I am. Basically, I've been a, what was he? He was a retired city."
Meter maid.
Yeah, basically. And no, he was a retired city police.
And that's the arbitrator. We're going to get somebody on our side to come in and arbitrate for you.
Yeah, and basically he looked at it and said, "Well, nope, we're going to find you liable, yada, yada, yada." And he says, and the ticket says right here, all this stuff. And I said, "Well, my ticket doesn't say that." So I said, "Can I see yours?" And he goes, "Well, what does yours say?" And I slid mine across the table, and mine's got nothing. He slid his across the table. It's got a paragraph of what I did wrong. After I signed it saying that I did nothing wrong, they added a full paragraph after that saying of what I did wrong. And I'm going, he can't do that. And they go, "Oh, yeah, they do that all the time." Let me tell you something, folks. Just because they do it all the
That
time
is
does not make it
illegal.
right.
what are you going to do with that money that once they return it to you?
Well,
We were told we can't do what we want to do.
I
with it.
know. So we can't offer it to the grand jury for the grand jury report because I was going to tell everybody, tell your buddy, what is his name over there? Jesse? Thanks for the money back that you should have never taken from me. But the fact is now you're going to be responsible for us getting a hold of the grand jury report.
Apparently, that's considered bribery or something.
Yes,
now.
I got told that I
But-
can't do that.
Here's the thing. Since we're on the grand jury subject, because I'm really questioning, is that bribery or not? Because I now am of the mindset, well, I'm more convinced than ever that report is the people's report, it should legally be out in the open, because here's what else we found out. Okay, more breaking news, and this time it's Sutter County affected by this. So what we found out from another meeting with from another source who had a meeting directly with a grand jury, a member, former grand jury member, and guess what? So the question came up because we had the last meeting of the Constitutional Republicans. Somebody spoke up that was very familiar with the whole process, and he informed us, well, you know, it's kind of interesting. They're saying the report wasn't signed because it doesn't get released to the department heads until it is signed. They don't release it until that happens first, and then it goes to the judge, and the judge releases it to the department heads. So that brought up the new question for us to ask, well, then if that's the process, did they break their process, or are they lying? Turns out they were lying, because guess what we found out? Yeah.
What a shock.
I'm shocked.
Because guess what? The original full report, 166 some odd page, the full report, that was signed by all the grand jurors. And what wasn't signed by any of the grand jurors was any altered rendition of that original full report. The one that they researched, they did all the investigation, they took the testimony on, they put together their thousands of hours worth of work. They put together this report that they stood behind. They put their signatures to it and said, this is our report. And then they get told, well, no, you can't publish this. You need to alter it. You need to redact this, redact that, redact this. And of course, they weren't willing to stand behind anything less than what their full work was. So apparently they didn't sign any of the altered renditions of the report. But that original report, it is signed. And if you look at the state law, how our state law addresses the grand jury and their function, they don't need the approval of their advisor judge. They don't even have to show it to him.
So what you're saying is they don't need no stinking judge.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know that we're close. Can you feel it?
I can feel it.
At the Yuba Sutter Fair last night, I had a gal come up to me and she said, my supervisor does not have that grand jury report. I said, what street do you live on? So she told me, I said, he's lying. He signed for it. Every single one of those supervisors signed for their copy, which was the original body of work from what you are telling us that they turned in. But I think that these jurors are kind of sick and tired of being called liars, the character assassinations that are being launched on them, you know, that they falsified, that they were corrupted. This is complete BS. It's not acceptable. We want that report. It's our report. And just because you think that the jurors aren't going to talk, we got another thing coming, because now they are talking. Mm-hmm. They're talking. And this isn't going away.
No.
So one of those five, I doubt that in the last week they've grown a spine or found their Spaldings.
I think those jurors need to be taken to Baraqua. Right? Don't they have a special jail for them?
They
in
do.
Baraqua?
They do.
But we're standing behind those jurors, and if they would just realize that your whole community is behind you. You have this small group of tyrannical little Hitlers that are trying to silence you. You have your entire community supporting you and backing you with all of our resources. So
I thought for sure there was going to be a copy of the report today just laying around here up at Mount Huth. I couldn't believe it. Disappointed. Again.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hey, I love my little... Oh, hey.
Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated in Boracua. You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
That's us.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you're right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world.
So, you know,
If you're on the grand jury, And you don't comply with the bullying, right to jail.
You know what? There might be hope for Dennis Houck. He might be able to be the sheriff of Baraqua.
Yeah.
You drive too fast, jail. You drive too slow, jail.
We can send Andy over there to be a supervisor.
I mean, we can round all of them up and send them. The whole city hall,
There you
Yuba
go.
City, Sutter County, Yuba County Supervisor. I mean, I think they'd be very happy in Baraqua.
I love my slogan that says, juries exist because judges cannot be trusted. And that's a fact, man.
Man, that is prophetic right there.
That is a fact.
Perfect right here.
Juries exist because judges cannot be trusted.
The Sutter gutter is churning. There's things going on. We just need somebody, just one person.
We will see the grand jury report.
Oh, I believe it. I have no
time.
doubt.
Yeah.
I hope it's laying outside the Republicans' headquarters. Speaking of that, we have a Republican Central Committee in Sutter County. We used to have a Republican Central Committee in Yuba County. And we're kind of new to the block of being the constitutional Republicans, but we're the only ones with a headquarters. What jives, Liz? You're on the Republican Central Committee. Give me a break. Come on, tell me about it. I want to know.
You know, this is hard for me. This is a difficult one because I've spent a lot of time on the Central Committee and we've done a lot of good work. I think the problem is right now.
You've done a lot. You've done a lot of good work, but you said we've done a lot of good work, and I hardly ever see those folks doing any work. They have a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
They have a lot of
talk a
meetings. As a matter of fact, they told. I mean, well, we heard through the grapevine that they wanted to meet with us so we could join forces and we could have a meeting, but there weren't enough people at their last meeting to get a quorum to have a meeting with us, so now they're putting it off until September to have a meeting with us. Guess what, folks? We don't wait that long to have meetings.
Well, gosh, by then,
done.
John Mistler is going to be a full-fledged candidate. September.
They did work hard to keep you off of the committee at
Well,
one time.
they booted me right off. Well, they didn't want me on in the first place. Then I gave a speech. They let me on. That was the wrong idea. Then whenever I moved, they were like, "We're glad to see you gone." And, I did nothing but work whenever I was there. It was pretty much asses and elbows the whole time I was there.
I was at their meeting on a candidate on election night, and there were some members there rooting for your opposition.
Well, I'm sure there were. That's no surprise.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that.
Well, and
Come on.
well, and you know what? That's fine. Everybody's got their favorites. I understand that. I hold no hard feelings about that. But my problem is we are stronger together, and they can't get that through their thick head. Okay? We're stronger together. There's no doubt about it. And I understand we all have shortcomings. We all do. Everybody does. But come on, folks.
Get on board.
Yep.
It's not that hard. They're having a hard time getting out of their own way. That's it.
Curtis.
Hey, now, we are... Bill.
Is that a song?
We called Curtis Greenman the other day because we need to get James Gallagher up to come and bless our headquarters. I mean, seriously, we need some signs from him because he's our assemblyman. He is our assemblyman.
Well, we don't need anybody to bless it.
No, I'm just saying that was the wrong word. I mean, just come up and acknowledge us, and we would like to have some of his signage there. We'd like to have some pictures of him there, maybe playing some games and doing some stuff. We really want to get him there. So we gave Curtis a call the other day, and hopefully, I know I've had my problems with Curtis, but the fact is everybody who knows me and is personally a friend of mine knows 5 minutes after I get into it with you, where I'm over it. And I get into it with everybody every once in a while. I mean, that's the way it goes. It's my nature, unfortunately.
So Curtis is James Gallagher's chief of staff for our listening audience that has no idea who Curtis is.
Yes, he's the chief of staff for James Gallagher, and we just want to get James Gallagher up there to stop in and stop by, see our place. We're really proud of it. I mean, we put in a lot of work. A lot of people put in a lot of work and a lot of time. And I promise you, it's the nicest Republican headquarters you've seen in this area. And it'll probably be the nicest that you're going to see.
And I want to ask him some questions.
Yeah,
You know,
well-
he works for us.
Exactly. But I mean, the whole thing is let's get him up there. And the same thing with Nielsen. Nielsen needs to stop by and see us and check us out. And this is the way it goes.
Apparently, he can't spare just a few minutes.
Well, he will. I guarantee it. We are the people. We're in the arm twisting position. They're going to come see us. I promise. I mean, I don't even want to go there yet, but it will.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm not going to. So
Okay.
But
the
we
fact
are the
is,
people.
we
You
are the
got it,
people.
buddy.
You're going to come and see us because that's your job.
yep.
So enough said about that.
But definitely stop by the headquarters on August 9th, this Thursday, for our debut of our casino night theme and our grand opening, our wine and dessert social. For
It's Monte Carlo night, and I think we better start calling it Monte
Monte
Carlo night
Carlo
rather
night.
than casino theme because I'm afraid we might.
Get in trouble.
Yeah. And so it's Monte Carlo night. You know, the chips are fake. Everything is fake, but
Everything's
it's just
fake.
A lot of fun.
But it's fun.
Yes.
And we also have a selection of Trumpware coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So that our president was in Ohio yesterday, and we've made contact with a gal that does all of his. I think she just sounds like she has the most magical job ever. What she does is she travels from Trump rally to Trump rally and outfits people in Trump wear. Isn't that enchantment right there? My gosh, I'm so jealous. Anyway, so she is hooking us up.
Excellent.
Cool.
Cool. So
I remember being in Walmart before the election and seeing this young woman all decked out in Trump wear. Man, she was gorgeous.
So Tammy,
I don't know what I like better, how beautiful she was, or the Trump wear, or both. But she was, she could have been.
She was a knockout.
Yeah, she was knockout.
you
That's
need to go
awesome.
talk to
And-
Jimmy Carter.
And but hey, I can appreciate a beautiful girl. You know.
Hey, Tammy's got something coming up on the 25th of August. It's really important.
Yes, the 25th of August is our new 6-hour seminar on the Constitution. It's going to be up at the Church of Glad Tidings campus in rooms 210, 212. And it's from, did I say 9 or 10 in the morning? I think I said 9 to 3. It's 9 to 3. I don't even have my own flyer in front of me. It's 9 to 3 on August 25th up at Church of Glad Tidings. And we will provide lunch. Free to attend. There's a student manual, optional to purchase for $25, but that's totally up to you. Yeah, August 25th that's when that will be happening. And I know for a fact we have 2 for sure candidates that will be attending. David Shaw and then Mark Boomgarden said he would be attending as well. So we'll see what other candidates will get to show up.
I think John Mistler will be there too.
If he's not walking,
yeah, if he's not walking.
I'd like to see Mr. Westmoreland show up, who's running for city council.
He said he would.
He might be able to teach
he-
us a thing or two, apparently, because
Yeah.
we don't have a law degree, according to him, so we can't understand the Constitution
Yes.
because we don't have that law degree.
I wasn't paying attention. Did you mention David Shaw was showing up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And we didn't invite Stan Cleveland
He knows everything already, too.
or
Just ask him.
John
Well-
Buckland, Sweet Life.
I've already asked John to interpose for the people. Not John. I mean Stan at
Oh.
one meeting, and he just got frustrated by that.
Yeah, and I don't believe we're going to invite Preet either. The Trash Trio, I think, is out. Literally out.
yeah, she's not running.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think the whole Trash Trio is out. We're going to be out. So that'll
you
be
know,
nice.
what we really need to focus on, we're moving mountains. We know that, and we got a big one coming up with John Mistler. But we have got to encourage true conservatives to run. We don't have good candidates. We need good candidates. If they need help, the help is out there. We'll help.
Yes. There are people in positions in their life that have the time. You know, To me, it seems like a lot of Americans have been sold this program that you get to a certain age, you retire, and then you screw around the rest of your life, or get an RV and go everywhere, you know. But I think that's the time, you know, you need to engage. And so we have people that have that kind of time that can engage, and that's what we need. It's hard to do when you're fully employed and are running a business or this or that, you know what I mean? But we have people in that position, and we're looking for them to step up, and then we'll support them.
Yep.
I just want to take a minute and tell everybody I did sell my house yesterday. We will be moving to Idaho. I want to thank everybody. I've been here for a long time, made some really good friends, and I hope that you people get out there and fight and make a change in this area. You really need it.
Well, you're here for 30 days, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's got to
Get
go
out there
find a
and fight
house
with
in
us.
Idaho.
Yeah. I'm going to be homeless in 30 days. I know that. My wife is very stressed about it.
I got a room for rent.
I probably can't afford it. We are very much looking forward for this new chapter in our lives.
So are you going to hold the Get Right in the Game in Idaho too? Making sure that this corruption doesn't creep into your backyard?
Well, if I have to, I mean, they pretty much got to hold on it there. I will say that the people that bought our home are very conservative. They're coming up from the Simi Valley, and and they want to get involved. At least they say they do. So at least the torch is getting passed on a little bit. My biggest thing every morning I wake up is, what fly rod am I going to use, and what are they biting on? That's going to probably be my biggest concern.
Okay, Randy.
It's
We're
awesome.
gonna call you every day.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, are we having a meeting in the booth?
No. Keep. Well, you guys are going
Just
now.
rattle on out there.
Hey, I can we just figure out, you know, Donald Trump has been stumping for these conservative candidates. Is there any way? I have a big plan. I see like Cal Expo and a big Trump rally where he comes in and stumps for John Cox and some of these other conservatives that are running.
He will be coming to stump for John Cox. I can't say where, but he will.
That'll be
Oh
awesome.
man, are you kidding me? Do you know something?
Hey, I want to know how do we get this Trump gear that you're talking about, Liz? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
on
hold
it-
the key.
It's on its way. It was shipped from Ohio yesterday, and she's going to make sure that we have a really good selection to open our headquarters. But we will have be able to order as we wish. Everything from hats to shirts. They have dog bandanas. The classic is obviously Make America Great Again. But the MAGA, remember, Jason, MAGA, Make America Great Again. And now the theme is Keep America Great Again. So, yeah, it's exciting. I can't believe what she has. It's amazing.
Okay.
We'll have to find that bombshell of yours at Walmart and hook her up.
Yeah.
Those
She's
two
already
guys,
hooked up. Yeah.
Those two guys that you said tried to steal their bikes, they caught them, you said, or they know who
Well,
they are?
the local sheriff knows who they are.
Their last
they're
name was
well-
De Leon and Becerra,
They
wasn't it?
could be.
Oh man, I wonder if it was on purpose or if they were just low lives.
No, they were just low lives.
Oh,
Well, John, you got anything last words you want to go in the last few minutes to say?
Right in
I can't.
Mistler, Mistler.
yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
We'll come up with a good jingle that goes along with that.
I thought she already had it. One more time.
Yeah.
My supervisor has a first name. It's J-O-A-H.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
Hey, I'm going to read Article 1 of the Bill of
Hey,
Rights.
we've got 2 minutes
Okay.
Of the 56
No, we
signers.
don't.
We don't.
We're not?
No, it ended up being like 8 minutes. It was the wrong one, so we don't have time.
okay.
So I will get it next time. I promise I will find the right one.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to look it up on YouTube. I did burn it and save it, but
That's okay.
I'm
Before
gonna-
Tom
I'm gonna-
reads,
oh, go
before
ahead.
you read the Article 1, can we just say that next week we're going to jump into some of these contracts with the employees and how large and inflated they are, like your guy, Diamond Dean?
Yes, up in
We
Ridley.
we have a real epidemic of that going around here, and it's real simple to pull their contracts. We found out when you don't turn in or let your jury, your watchdog, turn in their body of work, then the public starts going and finding their own things, and
There you
it's
go.
pretty simple. So
Okay.
roll it out.
So I think it's very important to always review our Bill of Rights. So I'm going to start with Article 1, and that's what we're going to read today. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And my favorite, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. There it is. God-given inalienable right that we practice here in the USA.
the whole reason this radio show can exist. Otherwise, they would have squashed us already. We would be.
We would be in Barakwa jail.
Yes, we would.
For sure.
There is no doubt about it.
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to take us out with a little rocking in the free world, but thank you,
Okay.
John, for coming out. We appreciate having you.
Thanks again.
And thanks for running. We know it's going to be a lot of work. We're going to give you all the support we can and walk for you. Everything we can do, we're going to do. But just thank you for stepping up.
Well, I'll tell you, it's things like this that have really got me excited about doing this. It's going to be a fun thing. I'm looking forward to it.
God bless everybody.